All right, this video is to talk about the sanding portion of the project. We have all our pieces here. We have our two sides, we have our other two sides, we have our top and our bottom as well. Oh, it's back there. So we have all our pieces, and the one thing we want to make sure we do with our wood is just make sure it's nice and smooth. Some of them have some writing on them. Maybe we want to try to sand off as much as we possibly can. So a couple things about sanding. One, we're going to wear our safety goggles. And the other thing we need to know is about the sandpaper. We have these sanding blocks. They work really nice. They got these sharp nails inside there. You just pull off a strip of sandpaper and then you put it in here, clamp it in, or you can just use your hands and just sand along with your hands. It doesn't really matter. It's your preference. The other preference thing to let you know about is the sandpaper. So this is a 220 grit sandpaper and this is a 120 grit sandpaper. What's the difference between the two? 100. Think about it. So with the 220, the higher the number, the less gritty it is. So I know you can't see it right here, but this is the 220. It's a little smoother. It's perfectly fine for this finished wood that we already have. 120, a little more grittier, really gets in there and makes sure that it's nice and smooth. Both are fine, okay? If you're gonna use a sanding block, you're gonna peel off a strip and put it inside there. Otherwise, you can just peel chunks off. You don't need the whole thing. One of these strips is probably good for about, I'd say 5 people. So just think about that. About 5 people can use this piece of sandpaper for the project we're doing. So I got some 220 on my sanding block. I wanna show you a couple things about sanding. One, when you're sanding, you wanna sand with the grain, okay? Nice, easy strokes. Nice, easy strokes, as Mr. Miyagi taught me. So you go with the grain, and you're just trying to get all the little rough parts and everything to kind of be nice and smooth. And again, most of the wood we have here is good and finished. We've either planed it off or we bought it that way, so it's not too bad. So once it's nice and smooth, you're good. The other thing you want to take care of are all the, after cutting, all the little pieces that are like hanging off. The corners are really sharp, so we want to try to smooth those out so they're just a little nicer. And then along the cut edges. So again, with the grain, when you're doing the sides, and then the corners, just little dabbing, just to make sure there's no sharp pieces or any, burrs hanging off of it, errands or wood burrs. I want to make sure those are all off there. And then, once all your pieces are good, then you'll be set. Now, as far as your topper goes, the top piece, you're going to want to get inside the dado edges that we cut, and again, get rid of all those burrs and get rid of all the parts that are going to be rough or hard to the touch, and try to get it as smooth as you can on here as well. And then around the edges of the top as well, where you want to make sure it's nice and smooth. And where we did our CNC work, make sure you try to get in there if you have any burrs, and try to get it to just be nice and smooth. The smoother it is, the nicer it's going to look. And the little bit of roughness that you put into the wood is going to make it a lot easier when you go to stain it or paint it later. So that's the sanding portion of this project.